My name is Tyler David, and you're watching Field of Dreams on ACTN.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams on ACTN. I'm Steve David and I'm your host. Today I want to talk about some rule changes in football, and I have two gentlemen who are expert at that, and you would meet them, who would tell us all about the changing of the rules. First, let me introduce Wayne Caesar. Wayne, welcome to the set.
Thank you.
And tell the viewers a little bit about who you are and what you do, kind of briefly.
All right. I am the head of the refereeing department of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. My job is to deal with training, everything basically with training and enhancement of referees, basically.
Okay. And next to Wayne is Jagannath Gulcharan. And Jagannath, tell us, what do you do, and welcome to the set.
Thank you very much, and good morning to the viewership. We have this program that FIFA trains the trainer in all the confederation. Those instructors train the trainers in the entire CONCACAF. Mm-hmm. I have been part of that program as an instructor for probably about 4 years now. And I am also a referee in CESA that assesses referees in the FIFA tournaments, CONCACAF tournaments, and the smaller tournaments.
Okay. Okay, welcome to, glad to have both of you. I am the biggest culprit when it comes to the laws, because I've seen they're doing stuff that I know in my time. Of course, I'm an old timer. In my time, that didn't happen. So I'm going to let you guys educate me and my viewers on some of the laws that changes in the game. So I'd open it up for you guys to do your thing.
All right. But what I would do, I would allow him to go through most of it because he just came back from the Futuro course.
Okay.
And that is the latest update for 2020 in the changes with the laws and so.
Okay.
So
and then
I would just get in from time to time.
Okay, no problem.
Right.
Okay, so let me first thank you all for the initiative in educating the general public, players and coaches. I think this will go a long way in helping the game of football. The philosophies behind the changes was really designed to keep respect among players and coaches, to enjoy more playing time, mm-hmm. and to have a more disciplined enjoyment for the game. These changes would have become effective from the 1st of June 2019, and it carries until probably IFAB will sit again in 2020 and amend changes. First of all, Law 3 speaks about the substitute. So times would have gone by where coaches would have used this delay tactic to have a player leave one end of the field of play on the touchline to come across. Recognizing that substituted players can now leave or now have to leave at the closest boundary line. So if the substitute is being made, he can now leave on the opposite side of the technical area. There are exceptions to that rule in the bigger tournaments where you have safety concerns. The referee could now decide which is the safest route for that player to come off. And of course, player safety is always the referee's paramount interest. So if a player is injured, the shortest possible distance for him to receive medical treatment will also be taken into consideration by the referee.
Question on that
Sure.
one. I'm asking the question for the viewers.
Yeah.
Now, if I am on the far side and I get substituted and I decide to come off on the side where I am being, back all the way across the field to the coach,
Yeah.
what the referee going to do, stop me?
Yes, the referee has the authority because we are part of the game and we want to keep each player in the field. The referee will beckon the player and probably advise him very quickly, this is where you exit. If he refuses, he could receive a caution for unsporting behavior.
Okay. And that is just to save a few seconds, really.
Yeah,
Because people do that.
20 seconds multiplied by
Right.
3 is a minute. And we know that a goal could be scored in seconds, right?
Of course, of
Yeah.
course.
Also, if I could interject here,
Yes.
it depends too a lot. The time wasting takes a lot, and most of the times at the end of the game, when the team that is leading takes a longer time to leave the field than the team that is
Of course.
underneath.
Yes. Right.
The team that is underneath, you'll find the substitution made very quickly.
Right.
But the team that is leading, you'll find they take longer. And let's just take a case like Manny Ramjan. If a player gets like a serious injury, and he has to be stretchered off, the ambulance is at the northern gate, so you wouldn't want them to just go, out there and then go straight around. You want that person to get to a medical as quickly as possible. So you want to allow them to go across.
But an injured player, first concern is the player.
Yes.
So forget about how much time he takes. We got to make sure that that player is packaged properly to be transported.
Definitely. Players' safety is of paramount importance.
Right.
And then we see about the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. One change to Law 5 that I know you player coach, this may hit a lot of coaches very hard, in that coaches are now responsible for their misbehavior. Prior to 2019-2020 changes, a coach could not have been shown a yellow card or a red card. These new changes exposes the coach for offenses under Law 12 so that he could now be shown the yellow card and the red card, same as the player. Obviously, there is a process wanting to keep the coaches in the match or the team officials. Depending on the offense, the referee or the fourth official could give him a verbal warning, and then it goes to a caution and the red card.
Okay, break that down a little bit for me, a little bit more as to what does the coach really do that would warrant him that kind of stuff.
Okay. We know languages,
Okay.
all right? We understand the passion of the game as officials, but we also have to respect the game also. So there may be a tolerance level, so you may get a verbal warning. And there are several offenses, just as the players, that comes under Law 12. So let's say a player comes close to a technical area and you choose to strike him. That would be an immediate red card. And all the offenses are under Law 12, page 112, if you need it. Coaches are advised of that. And you take it from there. The good news is that depending on competition rules, the law does not say that you are automatically expelled from the succeeding game. So that dismissal will only serve for that match.
So a coach could be yellow carded or red carded, yelling at the other coach or yelling at the official on the sideline
In a derogatory manner.
in a derogatory manner.
Yeah.
But all those are offenses.
Yeah. The passion, football is passion. So if a coach chooses to yell at the other coach, let's say it's probably some comment he wishes to
You
make,
can let it go.
and it's football language or it's understandable that it's the passion of the game. Referees are trained not to be so hard and fast with the law.
Right.
So there is leeway, but the referee has the final say.
Okay, and the coach has to be in. What about if he goes out of his coach's box?
Right. So as we would know, coaches often steps out, so the fourth official may beckon him back and advise him. If he goes out given a technical instruction, again, we understand that. But if you constantly remove yourself from that area to go and, let's say, harass the other team officials, that will come under an offense, for leaving the technical area, a yellow card, possibly into red card on the second offense.
Wayne, you think that's fair, buddy?
It is, because let me just put in this. One thing that we learned when we started referee is that you don't hear everything. So, as Gulchan was saying just now, the game is passion. So, something will happen, and a coach will even curse his player. You don't hear that. If he continues, it's something different. You speak to him, and if he continues, well, then you go through the normal channel. But we are very, I don't want to use the word soft, but understanding sometimes with the rules of the games. And if we go to issue cards and so, as the game wants us to do, at least the rules want us to do, we're going to play about 30 minutes of football in a 90-minute game. And you may not end up with 11 players on each team. So we have that understanding that there are some things that you let go. You let it go. But once it starts to interfere with the game or the people and the personnel on the game, then you deal with it accordingly.
I'm glad you say understanding, because I think sometimes the referees get overzealous and they go overboard in letting you know who the boss on this field is, and they think the people pay to see them, and it's really the game. So how you feel, not feel, but explain to me why some referees do that, and they overexert themselves, the power on the game that they have.
Well, what happens, we try to teach people that same concept that I just spoke about. That you understand, try to understand. But just like players, you will teach a player to conduct himself in a certain manner. But as something happens and he blows up, you didn't teach him that.
Right.
Right. It's the same thing with referees. They are human beings.
They're on their own.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say they're on their own, because they have assessors looking at them.
Assessors,
and at
right.
the end of the game, they get their assessment.
Right.
But what I'm saying that it's the normal human nature that somebody will react. Everybody is different.
Right.
And what my time when I was refereeing, one of the problems they had with me is that I used to talk too much and not issuing cards. Then there are other people who they say they issue too many cards, right? Like we have, I shouldn't go into that, but we have people who we have brought from issuing a card for every little infringement to really understanding the game now. So it's a work in progress, and everybody is different.
I understand, because a referee I would say to talking to my own player, and the referee would be like, "Shut up! What do you mean, shut up? I can do that," and that kind of stuff.
Like Mr. Caesar said, it's a work in progress, and sometimes we get the referee, but our objective is consistent and constant assessment, approvals, and when referees conduct themselves in a manner that may not be fitting as the official, we have our own sanctions and we have our own way. We have our own private war room that we deal with it.
Okay.
Again, it's about the game. I totally agree with you. But development, just like players, just like coaches, there is a developmental stage and a process.
Okay. So we can continue.
Yeah. One thing on that yellow card, red card for the team officials, if a comment is made and it is not identified, the player or the team official is not identified, the head coach have to take one for the team, so he will be sanctioned accordingly.
Right.
Yeah?
And it happens.
Yes. In the past, an injured player should leave the field of play after receiving treatment. FIFA in their wisdom would have recognized sometimes the player to take the penalty kick. Based on the law, he have to come off the field of play and re-enters after play would have restarted. Identifying that a change was made so that if the player is injured and he receives treatment on the field, only if that player is the player appointed to take the penalty, he can now stay in. He don't have to leave the field of play. I think that will serve the game. You can have your best player going out, and the tactical way that teams play, they identify their players, who they're going to foul, who they're going to nudge. So it helps the game of football and it helps the team.
So you get hurt. As long as we bring medical staff onto the field, you must exit the field to
Yes.
come back on.
Yep.
But you don't have to wait until a dead ball to come back on. The referee could motion you back on
Yes.
during the run of play.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are exceptions to that also, whereby if a player is cautioned, that treatment, you don't have to leave the field of play. But if
Right.
it's like player going on, let's say, for instance, a cramp, once the medical staff comes in to treat that player, he has to leave the field of play and come back in at the after the game has restarted.
All right. Question from my viewers. What if the medical staff is coming on, and I was really pulling a name and faking it, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I realized, okay, so I jump up. I'm okay.
Right.
What happens to that player?
And
Does he have to come off?
it's ironic that you would have made that comparison. That
Yeah.
is the exact reason why this law was put into place.
Okay.
So now you can't fake it. Once they start to enter, the referee will, of course, first ask you if you need treatment. You determine that. But once the medical staff starts to come in, whether they enter 1 meter into the field of play, you have to leave the field of
You
play.
have to leave.
Yeah.
But you get to come back on. The referee could wave you on while the game is going on anyway,
Yes.
right? So
We practice, you don't come back in an active play because players wouldn't see you coming in from the touchline or from the goal line. So plays like have gone where you're going to re-enter the field of play, then the referee beckons you back on.
okay, I see. Okay. Any addition to that, Wayne? Anything?
No.
Okay.
The start and restart prior to 2019-2020, again, the team that wins the toss now have the option to choose which goal they're going to attack or whether they want the kickoff. Now we see the dynamics of the game where a goal can be scored direct from the kickoff, and players have that ability. So you give them the option. If they feel they want to go at the goal, at the kickoff, they now have the choice. When you win the toss, the advantage goes to you. So the team now has the option.
To either take the ball
Or choose which goal they're going to
or
attack.
choose which goal.
Yeah.
And I thought it was always like that.
It was like that
It used to be.
in, well, our days as players. Then it would have changed,
Okay.
and then it went back to the
Yeah.
original.
Because I'm an old timer. So in my days, you either take ball or you take the goal.
Yeah. So,
b-
so right away you fall into the modern game with this
good.
change.
All right, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we need to take a break. When we
Sure.
come back, we'll pick up where we left off. We'll be
Okay.
right back, viewers.
If the defender sees an opponent coming and he realizes that he might reach that ball just as he gets it, he will go back into the box and play it back. That was an offense. Well, it wasn't, the ball would not have been in play at that time. So they used to use that.
I just saw you playing out there, and you look real good. Who are you?
Well, you know, I'm Mr. Keezer. I'm the best footballer point to ever see.
Oh, really? You know any of the older players who play here? In Point?
Well, I know Warren Archibald, Leroy Dillion.
Stop. You know me? Boy, I was the best striker, the best forward that this country ever seen.
Oh, Wilfred K.
Boy, I'm Steve David, boy. Okay, welcome back, viewers. All right, let's continue. So, what's the next one?
The drop ball. We often see a ball is being dropped for a restart. Players converge around the ball. Now, the ball, when the ball is being dropped, all players must be 4 meters away from that ball.
Everybody, both
Everybody.
teams.
And the team that gets possession of it, if it's in the penalty area, it's dropped for the goalkeeper alone. Other than that, it's dropped for the player who would have last touched the ball before it went out of play.
So, question on that.
Sure.
Normally, there's so much gentlemanly kind of thing in football now. If I know the ball really belongs to you, I just walk away and let you drop and take it.
Yes.
But back in the day, we used to fight for it.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Explain that.
we would have seen that when the team who would have had it got possession of it, they would have hit a long ball in the opponent's penalty area.
Right.
That is really a free opportunity to get that ball down there. In the real game, it takes the opponents many touches and many defensive moves to prevent the team from getting there. But now you're given that opportunity so that the ball, and you have an attacker in the best position, and he automatically starts to challenge for the ball. So it is an unfair advantage. So they drop ball 4 meters away, all players 4 meters away from the person who last to the person who last touched the ball, and then the attack starts from that point.
So the referee drops it. Everybody could converge now. They're 4 meters away, but once you drop it, we can go after it.
Yes.
Either team.
That's correct.
Okay. So it's not going to be like, all right, this ball belongs to you, and you drop it.
No.
Okay. Good.
Let me just,
Yeah.
sorry, interject here. What transpired a lot is that the team that didn't have the ball would send it down, although they are saying it's a gentleman's play and so on.
Right.
But they would send it down to the corner flag, as near to the corner flag as possible.
Yeah.
So you have to take a throw in from there.
Right.
And when you take that throw in, they attack you right there.
Right.
Right? So that is one of the reasons for this.
And that makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean, you want the advantage.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
The goal kick, before we went on set, you were mentioning. So this goal kick or kicks in the penalty area, prior to now, all players would have had to be outside of the penalty area and have to wait for the ball to leave the penalty area. Now, the opponents have to be outside the penalty area. And as soon as the ball is kicked and moves, he can now challenge for it. That too helps speeds up the game so there's no delay. Gives the opponent an opportunity to challenge for the ball and not having for it to travel probably 12, 14 meters before the restart of play.
For the old timers as myself, the ball does not have to come out of the box in a goal kick before anybody else touches it. It can be touched by another player inside of the box.
Inside of the penalty area.
Right.
The restriction in that is that the opponent have to be outside of the penalty area. So he's outside, and then he can challenge for it.
But can he, if I wanted to knock it in, I'm inside the box, at the 6-yard line, I knock it and it doesn't get outside the box as yet. An opponent could run and take that ball.
That's correct.
Okay. So either or, any one of the team or the opponents or the team can touch the ball inside the box.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the things with that too, what used to transpire before is that the defending team, they would take that goal kick and play it to a player short just outside the line of the penalty area. If the defender sees an opponent coming and he realizes that he might reach that ball just as he gets it, he will go back into the box and play it back. That was an offense. Well, it wasn't, the ball would not have been in play at that time, so they used to use that. So now they cannot use that. Once that ball is kicked and moves, it is in place. Fair game, opponents, defenders.
Okay.
Attackers, defenders.
I've got another one with that. If I played this ball, I was going to play it, and I realized somebody anticipate. So I try to hold my foot back, but it touches the ball anyway. And now the person is coming. I can't take another touch because you can't play it twice in the box.
No,
right?
you cannot play the ball a second time.
Right. So what would happen there?
If his teammate is smart, he'll understand what happens and try to get the ball before the opponent gets it. And
Remember,
he's
the opponent is outside
penalty area.
the box. Eh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that will give him sufficient time. He now is making that distance, 18 meters outside of the penalty area. And the teammates should be very close by. So it should not be an unfair advantage.
Okay, let's say I have to touch it twice because the opponent is coming, the ball is right by my goal, and it's right there. I've got to hit it again. What do the referee do with that ball?
Indirect free
Indirect
kick.
free kick.
So now an indirect, which we don't have any indirect no more, comes
sir.
into play.
Yes, we
Because
don't have
normally
indirect?
anything now it looks like a direct to me.
No.
So now this is indirect in the box.
yes.
Okay, so we could have indirect in the box now.
Yes. We always had it.
We always had it.
Indirect
We
free
did.
kick in the box.
We
Always.
did, but it kind of okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that would happen. So indirect in the box would be you must play to somebody else to score.
That's correct.
Two people has a touch.
Yeah.
Understand, viewers? Okay.
One that will help the game also is the defensive wall. We always see opponents getting into the wall and there's pushing and striking and sort of creates a distasteful look for the spectators. Now, once the defensive wall has 3 or more players, all opposing player must be 1 meter away from that wall.
Opponents.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So opponent can't go and line up into the wall
no,
anymore.
and you can't go and try to get in between the space for your player to pass it through. It's 1 meter away from it.
Right. Okay. That is only on any dead ball situation.
Any dead ball, once the defensive wall, 3 or more. So if you have one person standing as the defensive wall, there's no need for the 1 meter law to come into effect.
Okay. What about a corner kick?
A corner kick, at the corner kick, you'll normally see markings on the outside, probably about 6 inches. That's 9.15 meters from the arc. Players normally would restrict themselves from a normal free kick, 9.15 meters.
Right. That is, yeah, but I'm talking about, you see, those guys, the ball didn't even play yet. And I always wonder why they do that because I'm waiting to the last minute to move, but they're fighting and they're hitting each other inside of the goal area I'm talking about.
Yes. Inside of the goal area, that
They
is
can do
where
that.
the referee angle of view and his position and will determine. And he now has the authority to hold back on the restart of play, deal with that situation, ensure that they are aware that offenses, and he's aware of the offenses, and try to manage the players.
But I'm saying that is the only time then you allow people to start to bump each other.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like a meter away or nothing
No.
like that, right?
No.
Okay.
But just a correction.
Yeah.
You don't allow people to bump each other.
Well, they do.
Well,
They hit each other and stuff.
yeah, we see it happening, right?
Uh-huh.
But let's take one of those. Let's take one of those English games, right? There are most times 18 or more players in there,
Right.
and each is bouncing each other, trying to get away from each other. Which one you win to pick?
I don't know. I'm not a referee,
Exactly.
but I'm saying.
Exactly.
I am saying
You use your common sense.
Yeah.
Unless there's something blatant, you deal with it. If not, there's hardly anything that you could do because 9 and 9 against each other and they're pushing and so on. Unless it's
Right.
blatant,
I hear.
I don't think you could do anything about that. And
Okay.
we will continue to have that.
No matter what.
And let me just say this, Mr. David. The game and refereeing have evolved in the right direction from since our days is playing. Referees are trained and are being taught to more manage games as opposed to be the authoritarian person on the field. Obviously, you have the final say with the cautions and the sending off offenses. So those instances, we try to get referees to manage the situation before it happens, as opposed to letting it happen and then taking measures that may leave one team with a player short. And as we know, competition rules, 2 cautions is equivalent to not being able to play in the succeeding game. So one caution might be one caution too many for players, especially if you are a player that your team needs you to be on the field of play. So we try to be aware of that, but at the same time, we will not compromise on the laws of the game or players' safety.
Well, with corner kicks, I can give, if I was a referee, I can give 10 yellow cards in one
Yes.
corner kick.
So then you're
It will
without a
happen,
game.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Right. For the penalty area kick, oftentimes we see goalkeepers, they would stand and shake the net. This is a distraction for kickers. So now the law says that you cannot touch the goalpost, the net, or the crossbar at the penalty kick.
Right.
You now have the option to, you have 1 foot on the line or above the line. So you now have your legal means of getting your lunge with one leg coming off the goal line. So that too has been added.
So I can have one on the goal line and one ahead?
Yeah.
Or ahead?
At least
in
1
front,
foot
like
yeah,
this?
on the goal. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
And because they do dive forward, which
Yes.
makes sense to cut off the angle.
Yeah, and the biomechanics of it is that, you want somewhere to launch. You can't launch too far forward with both feet planted. So they are given that option.
Well, I think that's another good law, and I'm just thinking the law now. It should be 1 foot on the line, and everything should be behind and not ahead. Because what if I have a long stride and I could stand with my leg 2 feet from the goal line, let's say?
Yeah.
I already have an advantage. I have one in the back line.
So as a coach, you would want that player, same as you would want your tallest defender to defend on the corners. It's an advantage for the team, selection
Okay.
of players.
Right.
Yeah.
So now a goalkeeper can stand with like that.
Yes.
Okay. Good. I didn't know that. That's a good one.
Yep.
All
Again,
right.
changes are made to enhance the game and to make it more spectator friendly, and some of the law changes made it more refereeing friendly too. So we welcome the changes.
Okay.
I am not so sure about
Which one?
referee friendly because the amount of things that we have to make a quick decision on now, the amount of things you have to think about before you make that quick decision, it's difficult. To me, it gets a little more difficult for the match official.
No, and refereeing is difficult,
Very.
but I don't like referees with attitudes like I'm the boss.
Yeah.
Because it's they didn't come to see you, the spectators, one. And two, I like referees who would talk with the players. Hey, Steve, come on, cut it out. And just to have verbal conversation with the players.
Yes.
But like in my time refereeing, I would do that. Sorry. I would pass, you did something, I would run past you and say, well, I wouldn't call him Mr. David. Steve,
Right.
I just saw what you did. Cut it
Right.
out.
Right.
And you would go.
And that's good. Referee.
They would listen to you. Not now. Not now. As long players would try a lot of things on you. And as long as they feel that if they get the impression that you're soft, even though you know you're seeing what's happening, they just want the ball to play. They feel that you're soft, they're going to keep on going. They're going to keep on going. And sometimes I get complaints. There's one particular referee. I get complaints that he's cursing players. I know him, right? I know the job he does. It involves things like that. But I know most of the players who they curse a lot, quite a lot.
Of course, it's,
Right?
on the field.
And you cannot expect, as I said earlier on, everybody is different. Some will react at certain times, and some wouldn't react. Although it's the wrong thing to do. I'm not saying I've ever heard anybody cursing, and until they bring some evidence to me that I can say yes. But I know reaction. People are going to react to certain things. All right? So,
Right.
but we try to teach referees to absorb as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So this one is it will take a very long time to go into the semantics of it. So we'll just touch briefly. That's the handled ball. Yeah,
You know.
you're in total agreement, right? Yes. So FIFA has tried to bring some clarity to it so that everybody could understand it. Basically, if an attacker touches the ball and it goes into the goal post, whether accidental or not, the goal will be nullified. We could always have the debate, he didn't do it, it was accidental, the ball bounced off. As we know in the stands what happens. So there's a little clarity on that. If it touches the hand and you gain possession and scores, or you create a promising attack, or the ball went directly into the goal, whether it's accidental or not, no goal. For the defenders, a handball is judged if whatever action you make with your hand makes your body bigger than it really is, or outside the normal silhouette.
Right.
So that when players just open their arms, this could be interpreted as you're making the body bigger.
Right.
Unless, of course, within close proximity, a player in clearing it deflects off somebody, then there's no time to really react to get that hand out of the way. So the referee should view that differently.
That's difficult.
It's difficult. Refereeing is difficult.
Yes.
So we have guidelines that you look at, like proximity, speed of ball, trajectory of ball. All of these things we take into consideration. And as Mr. Caesar would have said, split-second decisions. With respect to players making sliding tackles, again, if the hand is left behind or it's up in the air, that will be considered making your body bigger. So you will be penalized for a handball in that situation.
But sometimes your hand naturally, if you turn, just like I just did, I
Yeah.
turn, this would naturally stay back,
Right.
and this would go forward. So if the ball hit me in the hand, you would say I'm making my body bigger.
So if you turn, as you just did, and this ball is coming from, let's say, 10 meters away, the referee now will judge whether the distance of the ball, you had sufficient time to get your hand out of the way, as opposed to ball pass you and you're making a quick turn, and this hand just happened to. The referee have a lot of guidelines to take into consideration. Distance of the ball, as I just mentioned, speed of the ball will determine whether that handball should be penalized or not.
Okay, we need to go to a break, but let's stay on this one.
Sure.
Because when we come back, there's more to talk about this one.
Yeah.
Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break.
Defenders may pay attention to you in an offside position.
Right.
But the ball, even now, if it is coming to you and you don't get involved in that play, you should not be penalized for being offside. You only get penalized.
We, from those encounters together, and this was a North-South game to open the season.
So the team might be playing well, as we always say with Trinidad and Tobago.
Futsal did that great for me.
Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David. I'm your host. Okay, welcome back, viewers. Okay, Jagannath, so we were talking about the handball because this is like the most, I don't know, it's comic. It's comical because sometimes they give it, sometimes they don't.
Yes.
And it's just too hard. I feel once the ball hit the hand, regardless of whether you do it on purpose or not, it should be handball.
It should be a handball.
Ball to the hand.
All right. Let's look at the skills of a player. You are skillful as you, and I would still think that you have all those skills somewhere
I wish I did.
hidden. So, with your talent, and you see Mr. Caesar as a defender as he was, and you just decide, I am going to hit this ball on Mr. Caesar's hand. For you, it will be fair for the referee to award a penalty. For Mr. Caesar as the defender, would find because he's this skillful. So as much as we could agree on that, the skillful players will use that to gain an unfair advantage, which could very much spoil the game. I don't know how you view
How
that.
they would determine that that was my intention,
To hit the ball,
to hit it on his hand?
you could judge a player.
You see, well, they try to read my mind.
Yeah, you see,
Which right.
you know the Suarez and the
Yeah,
Neymars and
of course.
you know what they're going to do if you go close to them.
Right.
Yeah, so then it might be easy to anticipate. Referees are being trained now to have more football understanding and to read the game, anticipate where the ball is going, just as the players would do to get in best viewing position to make best decisions. So too we anticipate players, we try to read the players, we try to read the game, which should make officiating more simple and more decisions more acceptable.
Yeah. And you're right. A ball could bounce right here and I could scoop it up on somebody coming towards it. The handball.
Yeah,
And you really did it on purpose.
yes.
But
And the opposite is also true. Somebody could always say, I'm just trying to get it out of the way and just this you
Right.
need to prevent that ball from going into the goal.
so why they run with the hand behind the back anyway when it's discrepancy of the referee?
Right. So now, because of the changes in the law, they no longer have to do that.
Okay.
So you have the natural silhouette of your body. So you can keep it right here, which is the natural silhouette. So there's no need to put it away. How fast you could run with both hands behind your back.
Exactly.
Or how your agility, how it will affect your agility to make a move or a pass with your hands behind your back. It takes away from the beauty of the game.
Well, and I always thought that was stupid because again, back in the day, you run with your hand on.
Yeah.
And whatever works out, works out. Okay, go ahead.
The players coming off from the substitute the technical area, they are now subject to all the rules that governs the player even before the game starts. So in the tunnel, the referee authority starts from in the tunnel on the lineup. And during halftime, his authority is still in until the end of the game.
Right.
Those are decisions he can take as match games. Outside of that, it will go to competition organizers, whatever decision has to be taken.
I can get a yellow card before I even enter the field.
Yeah.
Coming out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Just abusing the referee or something.
Yes.
And after the game,
After the
when
game,
does that stop?
the yellow card,
No, when does the referee authority stop after the game? As
After
soon as
the-
the whistle blow?
as the whistle blows and he leaves the field of play.
Okay, so coming off the field, if he didn't do well and I have to tell him a few things
Yeah.
coming off, I could get a yellow card.
Yeah, or a red card,
or a
depending
red
on what
card.
you tell him.
Okay. So until we hit the tunnel
Yeah.
out the side.
But you're not, the players wouldn't feel like that's a sanctuary to tell the referee, because if that happens, the referee now have the authority to put it in his report.
Right.
And still competition now could sanction that player.
Okay.
And whatever decision they take based
Right.
on the reporting of the referee, that will come.
Follow.
Goal celebrations. The
Oh, yes. Good one.
the player that scores a goal and removes his jersey identifies some political or religious statement or some sweetheart statement. That's a sanction.
Right.
They included in this year, it was argued that if the goal was disallowed, then you cannot be penalized for celebrating a goal. And it probably made legal sense. So now they included whether the goal is a legal goal or not. If you remove your shoot in celebration, you will still be under sanction, a caution for for unsporting behavior.
That I don't mind. But when they score a goal and they run the length of the field and the whole team run behind them and they
Yeah.
kill 10 minutes a time and you complaining about 20 minutes on somebody walking off the field.
Yeah.
How does
so,
that go?
So referees now, that's really what everybody wants. That is what the spectators come to see, a goal. So you don't want to stymie that so that there's no celebration. the spectators want to see it is the choreographed celebrations. They sit and they row their boats and they do everything. So you allow, the referee will still have to take his time to write his number, his time and everything. So they could do their business.
And do they give you that back at the end of the, or that's not time that you get back at the end of the half or the game?
Any stoppages in the game that wasn't supposed to be, the referee have the authority to add it back on.
But this is not a stoppage.
That is not a stoppage. In real, the referee makes sure that everything is okay, no striking or anything, and the players goes off, let's say, to their corner flag. The referee will now get the number right, probably communicate with his other team officials to make sure
Why that's going
that's everything. So while that is going on, that is the time they are allowed that. And if they go into excessive celebration, you will see the referees now going to them, or the assistant referee going to beckon them to, let's get the restart going.
So that's what people came to see, the celebrations?
Well, the goal, and the player must feel elated that I gave my player my support. A NAPS Press game, colleges game, Manny Ramjan Stadium. You see the euphoria that goes on there when one team score. How do you now tell these youngsters, right, you score, return to your half of the field of play?
You wouldn't believe this. Every time I score a goal, in my whole playing days, I turn around and walk back to the center.
Yes, I remember.
Serious?
I never celebrated a goal.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
This time, these times is all about the videoing and the WhatsApp video and everything to be all
I got
over.
you.
Yeah.
I got you.
For the throw-in, it is now 2 meters away, so no longer could players go and encroach on the thrower, where the opponent will go close and he jumps or make some movement. So he now has to stay 2 meters away from that point.
But that's how it was back in the day.
It was not low.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it with the throw-in. And if you have any questions, any additional questions, that's basically it on the changes.
On the changes in the laws. Okay. Yeah. Penalty kicks. Penalty kicks. If the goalkeeper allowed to move on the line.
Yes.
But not forward.
Not well.
Except for now, there's one step.
Yeah, he has one.
So he has one step. He can do one step forward.
Well, I wouldn't say a step to be.
One has to be on the goal line.
Yeah, to be correct, 1 foot
has to be
on the goal line, because a step might be interpreted as both feet moving forward.
Right.
For one step.
Okay.
Whatever you do, 1 foot must be on the goal line or over the goal line.
Okay. Nothing in offsides.
Nothing.
No changes in offside?
No changes in the offside. Offsides remain the same, interfering with play, interfering with opponents, and gaining an advantage.
I still think that should go back to the old way. Offside, that bothers me now, because I could have had so much more goals with the offside I have now today than back then. You know, once you're here, as long as you don't touch the ball, somebody could be in an offside position, and they don't not interfere with play according to them, but you could use that as an advantage to you as a dummy.
Yes, and that is how it is, and for good tactical reason, you being a coach will realize defenders may pay attention to you in an offside position.
Right.
But the ball, even now, if it is coming to you and you don't get involved in that play, you should not be penalized for being offside. You only get penalized if you challenge for that ball or you interfere in some way with the opponent's ability to gain control of the ball.
Right.
That's when the offense is.
Because as a defender, I'm putting myself as a defender, and a guy is in offside position and they play the ball to him, I'm already dropped he's offside, he can't touch it.
Yes.
And then somebody can break. And so it is interfering with my
for the defender?
For the defender.
You could have him there and you know he's in the offside position.
Right.
And now you will probably, for me, if I put myself in the defender's position, that opponent will not be a bother for me. I will now start to look at the runners coming from behind play because he knows if he interferes with the ball, he's going to be penalized. Especially if you read the opponents properly and you realize that is one of their tactics, the overlapping and the player running through the center on the diagonal to get that through ball. So the defenders now have to be a little wise.
The reason I say that is interference is I'm a defender and they play to a guy who is offside in an offside position. And then I'm not going to chase out there at it because I know he's offside already.
That's correct.
But one of his guys could make that run from deep.
Yeah.
No, he picks up the ball. No, I'm out of position.
No.
Because I would have really gone and closed that down. No, I stayed because he's in an offside position.
Right. So if he's in the offside position, there's no need to focus on him and look probably for the person coming through, the runner.
Okay.
Or if his teammate feels it that he's going to play to him and he goes to challenge for the ball, or he gains possession of the ball, or he interferes with my ability as an opponent to get the ball, then he's penalized for offside. So if he's in the offside position, he could very well stay right there.
You had to be a full-time referee. What about you, Wayne? What do you feel about that, Wayne?
As I said earlier on, I have seen some things that changed and come back to what it used to be.
Right.
And I'm almost sure that some of those things are going to come back to what we knew. Right?
Yeah.
So again, as I'm saying, the amount of things that you have to make decisions with now to make one split decision, one decision in a microsecond, you have to call it. It's difficult. It's really, really difficult. And I want people to understand what it is to make that decision. Sometimes we won't get all quite correct, but you have to understand how much things you have to go through before you make that one decision. I do agree with some of them, but that is the rule. We have to work with that we go in with it.
Let me give another one. Penalty kick, the spot turns into a big hole with water in it, let's say. Back in the day, you have to put it on the spot. Yeah. Now you can just let it barely touch the ball. Either way, either back, forward, sideways.
It has always been, and it's the same for on the goal line ball in and out of goal, or on the touchline ball in and out of play.
Right.
The whole of the ball
has to be out.
Must be over. So if you could get that part of the ball just to touch that area, then the ball is in the proper position.
And that is on our side. In tennis, sometimes you feel a ball is clearly out or clearly in, and you see just that little mud with replay. So obviously there is a lot of errors in that.
And we as referees and as instructors understand, and we hope that coaches and they understand. We are not infallible. We will get some wrong, but we trust that after every match, you get less and less decisions incorrect, and you improve on them, and you use that to help catapult you to the next level where you want to be.
Okay, I'll give you guys a minute each or something to say whatever you have to say to the general public or the players or the coaches or whatever.
I just want to say thanks to Mr. Seaton and all those who support me here at home, and my refereeing directors and my instructors who support me outside of Trinidad into the CONCACAF and the international region. I also wish to say refereeing is a nice field. So I just want to extend the invitation to all persons to come in, join us, and let's contribute to the beautiful game of football. Thanks to my family and my friends also for all their support.
Thank you. Wayne?
I just want to make an appeal to the coaches and players. Refereeing is a very, very difficult job. It's a job. And we get a lot of flack for sometimes making an error or so. But you would have the players making a lot of errors, throwing away about 20 goals, and one goal may have been offside, and the official missed it, and the official going to get blamed for the game. All right? There's an incident happened last night where 2 referees were attacked, and I think we need to do that. But we need to get these players and coaches to understand that it's not an easy job, because if one of the officials doesn't turn up, you ask them to help on the line. Nobody wants to do it. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Wayne and Jagannath, thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Continued success. And I know the viewers have learned a lot from hearing you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Viewers, thank you for tuning in. And you do that every Monday night at 8 o'clock, and you also repeat on a Tuesday at 1. ACTN, thanks for the opportunity to bring the show to our viewers. We have a Facebook page. You can also always check us out. And we have an email address, fieldofdreamtt@gmail.com. That's where you can drop us a line. The show has ended. Go in peace. My name is Steve David. Good night.